Just one big joke. It's a fucked up world. Here we are in. I ain't going nowhere.
What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to the Reason Reborn, episode 32. I'm here with the disgustingly horrible Cardiacsumo. Say hello to the people, sir.
What's up, guys? Sorry, I'm disgusting and horrible.
He's the master of the raccoons. That's what he wants to be in his life. Throwing garbage out the goddamn window. How dare you?
Nature finds a way, man. All right. It will always clean it. That's why we don't need to give a shit about, recycling and stuff. Nature finds a way.
So you're like the head of the EPA. You just don't give two fucks about the environment.
I mean, if I was getting free jet rides around the world, maybe I wouldn't give a fuck.
I know, burning all the fossil fuel in the world on top of just not caring what companies do. That has to be the greatest job in the world, to be able to be that disgusting of a human being and get paid to do so. God damn.
I mean, so is this guy still not fired?
No, he's still not fired. This man still has a job that he does not do. All he does is jet set around the world and spend money.
I mean, I know he still has his job. I'm just pointing out that pretty much anybody else would be fired for anything less, or for far less than this.
Exactly. Trump has fired people for far less. That's the funny part. Like, how? I don't understand, but okay. Whatever. Anyway, so we're going to try to keep this a little bit short because, one, we've overdone it with the podcast. The last time I'm still rendering the last one, by the way. It'll be up tonight at the time of this recording. It's just almost 4 hours long, sir. Good Lord.
Talking about Trump. Oh.
Fucking talking about
so
Trump.
What you're saying is we kept it short.
Yeah, in comparison to what we could have probably done with all the shit that goes on. But now, plus I want to kind of get back to a certain thing called Detroit Become Human, because I'm very, very curious to see where this goes. I'm about 6-7 hours in. I think that's halfway through the game.
Oh, I thought you meant to discuss it because I haven't even.
I know. I just want to finish. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and discuss spoilers and stuff with you because you haven't even touched the game, have you?
Nope. I should totally do that though. I'll probably buy it after this.
It's an interesting journey, definitely. David Cage has put out a very David Cage-ass game, for those who understand what I mean. But it's entertaining and it has some interesting features to it. So I do recommend that game. Definitely recommend it. Anyway, so on to the short, long list of bullshit, because it's usually not that short. If I were to count up the stuff that I ran into, let me just look on my Facebook just to count off the political and social related incidents that happened. Okay, this is on my Facebook, and I'm not going to keep strolling because I'm sure it's going to be long. You got the 1, you got the 2, you got the 3, 4. Mind you, this is just over the weekend.
Yeah. This guy's Facebook is a lot different than my Facebook. So.
This is just over the weekend. Well, I kind of had an interruption with my posting of the pictures. That was hilarious.
Oh, that was you posting.
Yeah. Oh,
your
5. There we go.
We're engaged.
I guess this is 6. No, it's just low. 7, if you count international news. Congratulations to Sweden for passing a law defining what consents as rape. Basically, sex without consent, which, that's what rape should be.
Yes. I feel like I saw that article and then I didn't even read it because The headline was so off-putting.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that is the fucking
So essentially,
rape
they defined rape as a rape.
Got 8, the NFL anthem policy.
Mm.
Yeah, that's 8 alone. That's just me looking on my Facebook. Good Lord. Mind you, CNN has this like a bevy of things, including today's activities, which let's start with the, I guess, the quote unquote light stuff. Roseanne Barr. We all know her, and some of us love her from the TV show Roseanne. Some of us love the wrong people on that TV show who are just horrible girlfriends who don't deserve the men that they get, but somehow was able to keep a decent guy under her wing.
I mean,
even though she treated him like
you
shit.
don't need to be talking about Jackie like that. Like, she was trying her best to find love.
No, because Jackie was just a dumbass. Okay, Darlene.
I don't know who you could be talking about.
Darlene, the asshole.
Darlene was a wonderful person. You need to chill. Stop being a hater.
You like to be abused by women. I'm convinced that because you're defending the wrong. Like, Darlene was a horrible woman. You deserve everything she got in that show. Anyway,
she had an edge, man. It was cool.
Yeah, it was called being a bitch. Anyway,
haters out here.
Anyway, so Roseanne Barr got into trouble yesterday. It is funny how quickly this all evolved. So she tweets out a message where she makes fun of one of Obama's aides, Valerie Jarrett, where she said something. What was the tweet? Oh gosh, it was so dumb because she was like
Brotherhood and Planet of the Apes.
The Planet of the Apes had a baby and they created her. Like, fucking, like, seriously. First of all, I'm trying to figure out why she's going hard on this lady. This lady.
I was actually going to ask that to you because I saw that. I'm like, I don't know who the fuck that is that she's talking about.
Yeah, it's like, why was she the target? When I heard this, I was like, are they beefing?
She was some Obama era motherfucker, I guess. I don't remember what she does. Who was she? I can't even remember.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm looking at this now. Well, she did a bunch of tweets because I remember the Chelsea Clinton tweets. She tweeted about Chelsea Clinton marrying a Nazi sympathizer, which she's not married to this guy, and I don't think she's ever dated him. Actually, I think Chelsea said, "Yeah, I've never dated this guy, and I'm not married to him." What are you talking about, woman? And then she apologized for that. Then she did the Jarrett thing, and she apologized for that. And then she just deleted her tweets, and then she decided, "I'm getting off Twitter completely." And then ABC was just like, "Yeah, nah, we done.
#2.
We are completely done with you, ma'am. You just." But it was just like weird that she went on that stupid rant and talking about, oh, they were just jokes.
I mean,
and
funny. I'm not saying like funny, hurtful. I'm not saying they weren't funny because they were hurtful. They just like weren't funny.
No, they weren't even funny. Yeah. Yeah.
She was just making like crazy ass conspiracy accusations.
Yeah, and it's like, what? You calling her a monkey, an ape? What? It's like, I don't understand the motivation.
Sure. I'm glad she didn't get away with the it was just joking shit, because like I feel like that might apply on some level in some cases, but not this. I mean, it was just clearly not joking.
Too many times these days people like to hide about that it's just jokes or it's just a prank, bro. Bullshit. And it's like, no, it's not, because it's only now a joke because no one's laughing at it. And 2, no one likes it. You know, it's like you knew what you were doing, and it's kind of fucked up for her because she just like revived a show that shouldn't have been brought back in the beginning. Not saying I hate Roseanne as a show. I think me and you both watched that show when it was in its first run.
It was like shit back in the day.
You know, it was a good show up until I would say about the last 3 seasons or so. But after like it started to go some weird places, especially when her and Duran got divorced and all that. It's just like, okay.
They won the lottery and shit. It was it
Yeah.
was different. Was it the lottery? They won some kind of money somehow.
Yeah, they got rich and then he cheated and got divorced and got sick and
Yeah.
they just
it got weird, and yet all throughout Darlene was wonderful. Fuck you. Anyway.
Fuck that. She was a hoe and she knew she was a hoe.
Bruh.
She was an admitted hoe.
Nope. But what was I about to say? Yeah, it was kind of shocking all of a sudden just to see that, you know, that story come up. Roseanne is canceled because people were going apeshit for it when it came back. It did very well with the ratings and such. I didn't watch it yet, but it had done well. I had heard so.
Yeah, I think it done well though because from what I heard, the topics were like really borderline. Like they were controversial in a weird way. Like I remember seeing this big deal about the episode where her and her family profiled their Muslim neighbors, and it was like, I don't know if that's like what your attention is here, but okay.
Sure. Muslims are people too. I don't know. I didn't watch it. Can't talk about it. I'm just, you know. I'm sure Darlene was still great.
Whatever. Anyway, no, actually, doesn't Darlene now have a black baby, which means that she left David and got with a black man or something like that?
I don't care. I don't know who the fuck. I mean, who cares about this David guy?
She was horrible. She's horrible because we need to establish the fact that Darlene is a horrible woman, and you need to acknowledge that.
She just didn't settle for trash, bro, which is what David was.
She is trash,
bro. This David guy was living with that family because he's trash, and then he was going to be an artist, but he didn't because he's trash. Bro, this guy's garbage, bro.
No, because he hooked himself to trash. Bro. He shouldn't have hooked himself to trash. He got with a trash ass girlfriend who's begat from a trash ass family. He fucking.
You talking like this dude came from royalty or some shit?
He did, but he pretty much tied himself to a fucking anchor. He went from a goddamn anchor to a goddamn like torpedo rocketing to the bottom of the of the deepest trench in the ocean.
This guy.
Sorry.
No, you're not.
Darlene ain't shit. Darlene ain't shit. Okay? Never was, never will be.
People like you.
That's why when the show ended, you realized that Jackie was the one who actually had her shit together, and she was just writing about Darlene. And then it all made sense then. It was like, of course, because Darlene's the garbage person.
Right. Jackie did not have her shit together.
I mean, not Jackie, her sister. What was the name of her sister? What the fuck is her sister's name?
Exactly, because her sister doesn't matter.
Yeah, but her sister was a good one because
was the star of the show.
She was the star because everybody liked watching garbage and was like, God damn it, this bitch is garbage. It's just like reality TV. You focus on it because they're a bunch of garbage ass people that you can't draw yourself away from. That's Darlene.
Bro, anybody who watched that show, make sure you sign off in the comment section to prove this guy wrong. Right? He's talking crazy talk, and he needs an intervention. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, whatever. You just need to start finding yourself attracted to better women, sir. We need an intervention. Please stop this man from making these bad choices. Jeez. Go anyway. Fun of a Ruby Riot. I at least appreciate that. Like this Darlene thing is just totally throwing me off. Sorry. Anyway.
So do you feel like the show should have been canceled over the words of the Roseanne bar?
I honestly don't know. Although I think that whoever did pull the trigger was kind of looking for an excuse to get this all out of his hair. Because the show had garnered a lot of controversy. Yeah, it got high ratings, but high ratings for some of probably the wrong reasons in Disney's mind. Because Disney was getting kind of hit with the whole, like, this is the type of stuff you support, especially in light of the controversial issues and subjects that she would come up on her show, yet they canceled that one show that Blackish did when they talked about something related to Trump and racism. And it's like, yeah, they would have made money, but it would have been under like a kind of like, well, Disney as a company probably wouldn't have gotten totally trashed. ABC would have been looked upon, and probably in the long run, they probably looked at their overall ratings, was like, yeah, having this show on, while it's successful, may not be drawing people to watch our network as a whole. So I feel like this was more of a, she gave us an excuse, so let's just go ahead and get rid of it now type thing.
I'm confused, like, why that's like, even if the show isn't drawing people to the network overall, it's still drawing somebody, right? So why would that be?
Well, no, it was one of the highest rated, if not the highest rated shows on TV. That's the thing. It was like for that show, it was, but I think it turned off a lot of viewers overall because they didn't want to watch a network with this show on. You know what I mean? I mean,
yeah, I mean, I guess you can't get into their calculus too much. Like, I don't know if they need an excuse. I'm maybe they just wanted to do it now because, like, even if they could get the public to forget this, Roseanne is just going to say more crazy shit soon enough, right? Like, it's not going to go. It's not a problem that's going to go away. She's still going to be Roseanne Barr. So even if we let, like, if the general public just kind of let this shit slide for some reason, they know another shitstorm is on the way. Although, like I was saying before we got on, like, she is who she is. So did we not all expect that she was going to do this type of thing at some point? She's always tweeting crazy ass racisty conspiracy theory shit, right? So
yeah. But I mean, at the same time too, I feel like the success of the show probably encouraged her to do that, not thinking. Because it's like I say all the time, people these days seem to think just because they could say it and just because they get people who get agreement in them, that they probably should say whatever the fuck they want, as if it's not going to have any consequences. And guess what? Shit can have consequences. Like, clearly, again, ABC having your show debut at 18 million viewers and be one of the top rated shows in this short period wasn't enough for them to just like bury their heads in the sand and be like, oh, you know, it is what it is. The show's doing well. Let's just hope we keep making money while we can, you know? So
feel bad for all the other people who like got together for this project, right?
yeah, I just saw like the guy who played DJ is like upset because he's like, damn, yo. Already, and it's like, yeah, already, because you work with a madman.
Mad woman?
That's debatable.
I mean, are we really gonna go there?
I mean,
but I don't know what their feelings were like going into this revamp here, not revamp, sequel, whatever it was. You know, getting the band back together. I don't know what their feelings like were around that, but I'm sure it must feel like it was cut short pretty fast after they finally got it back, because I don't know when the last episode of Roseanne aired, but it wasn't, you know, last year or something. It's been a long time.
Yeah, no, let me see, what was the original run of Roseanne? That's, yeah, that show, it has to have been on like just the 90s. I don't believe it ever made it to the, like, the first episode was 2000 and 1988, not 98, 1988 was when that shit debuted. And yeah, it was only on 10 seasons. No, it was only on 9 seasons. So 1997 was the final season of the original run. So yeah, it is literally had been just over 20 years before it returned.
Now that they're finally back and everybody got their nostalgia shit going, probably, bam, shot in the forehead.
Yeah, she sure did murder this show.
Because somebody, you know, did exactly what you would expect them to do, which I guess is my main annoyance. Nothing it's just like Trump. Nothing he did since becoming president should be shocking. Because we knew who he was before.
Yeah.
They are just being them. But here we are, without a Roseanne.
Okay, DJ has the interracial daughter. Interesting. Yo, was there ever any black people on that show other than like random coworkers?
I'm pretty sure DJ dated a black girl in the original show.
Maybe that's why they did it, because I don't recall like many African Americans showing up on that show with any type of significant role.
Didn't Dan have a black friend?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like the random shit.
I feel like he had like a black work friend or something. There were certainly no like black people that were like staples that I can remember. But to be fair, there was nobody really outside of the family that mattered that much.
Right.
It's not like one of those shows where like the neighbor matters a lot, or you have just outside characters like, what was that? Oh my God, what is it? Saved by the Bell? No. Boy Meets World, we have like Mr. Feeney and all those other people like outside of just Corey's family or whatever.
Yeah, no, it was just basically revolved around their family. And then you had like, well, I guess you could say David was an outside person eventually.
That bitch lived in their house, man.
But it's like him and like, what was the name of her sister's boyfriend?
Mark.
The one that they hate. Yeah. They hated the hell out of him. And I need to find out who the fuck her sister's name was. Like, the fuck was her sister's name?
There was 2 different actors that played her sister, and it fucked me up.
Were there?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like the actor switched at some point.
Huh. I don't remember that.
It's like how the mom switches in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I really don't remember her sister switching, but okay. Probably did.
I feel like it's Becky.
Yeah, Becky. That's her name. That was her sister's name, Becky.
See, this guy's bad memory should show you that he's not in a position to judge anything. And I'm just going to say that.
What do you mean bad memory? Like, who? Did you remember Becky? No. Why
I did remember
nobody
Becky.
Gives
what
a fuck about Becky. You just came up with it. We've been talking about this for the last 20 minutes. You did not remember who. You were like, I don't know. I said, and I specifically said, what the fuck is his sister's name? You was like, I don't know.
So
you just had to think of that shit.
I mean, but that's my point, though. Like, when I said I don't know, is because I didn't try to think about it. Because who gives a fuck about Becky? I only thought about it because like, what's her sister's name? And I'm like, all right, I will devote.
Yeah, because I'm not trying to shame the person who ended up at the end of the day being the person that you should be revering instead of not liking.
Becky wasn't that cool either.
Yeah, she wasn't until you found out that the cool person that you perceived as cool was actually Becky, who was being portrayed in the show.
Look, bruh. No more of this nonsense.
So yeah, you were mind fucked.
Nope.
Yeah, you were mind fucked by this show. Yeah. Yeah, that's what you get. Anyway. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things go now. People, like I really need y'all to smarten up on Twitter. By the way, all y'all people who think y'all don't have anything to lose by what you say, this should be a good example of what the things that you say can end up doing to you, regardless of whether you think it's right or wrong.
I mean,
there are consequences.
Sure, there's obviously consequences to having some dumb ideas, but I think the main focus should be the fact that she has those ideas more than that she happened to share them. Like, it is odd to indulge in conspiracy thinking like she does all the fucking time, especially with its nice little racist flavoring that she likes to use. So yeah, the fact that she shared it on Twitter is a problem, but the fact that she is a somewhat racist conspiracy thinker is troubling in itself.
Yeah. Oh well. Hope y'all enjoyed it while it lasted. Now everybody's gonna want to ban ABC, even though they're not gonna ban ABC. They're just gonna say they ban ABC.
They probably weren't watching ABC before.
Nobody exactly. It's like,
Who
oh, I'm
watches
not watching
ABC?
ABC no more. It's like there's no more Monday Night Football. I think right now you'll watch ABC because of NBA Finals. But it's like anybody who was watching ABC for the most part were more progressive people anyway. And that was only a handful of shows like Modern Family or Blackish or what's the name of the show with the Asian family? I forget what it is. Fresh Off the Boat.
Yeah. I watch a Modern Family and that's it.
Yeah, so or Shonda Rhimes show. Everybody watches her shit. And
I don't
even
know what the fuck you're doing.
Scandal. What's the name of the hospital show that they do? Grey's Anatomy. Scandal, Grey's Anatomy, How to Get Away with Murder. That's Shonda Rhimes show.
Yo, Grey's Anatomy is still on?
Yeah.
Grey's Anatomy is still on?
Yeah, it is still on.
Well,
it's like Law and Order. That shit just won't go away.
I mean, but there's always new crimes. Whatever.
There's always new medical issues that go in their hospital. Goings on. I don't know. All I know is like Shonda Rhimes is still making money off the shit.
So we've spoken an unusually long time about Roseanne, more than I expected, but I do just find it surprising is all. The fact that anybody is maybe surprised. Even her coworkers, I would think, once you got into this, you must have expected she was going to do that. Like,
they probably were like, well, it lasted as long as it could before she fucked it up. Yeah.
And now they're all back doing whatever the fuck they were doing before. Shameful.
I mean, shit. John Goodman's been killing it in movies and other TV shows, so he's probably like, I could give a fuck less. Like, I'm still doing shit for Amazon and other people. So,
what's his name? The dude that plays David. He's on a Big Bang Theory, so I'm sure he's making bank. He's probably good.
Yeah.
Darlene is on like The View or something. I don't know what the fuck she does.
Oh yeah, she's on one of those shows. So yeah, yeah, it's like the people who you probably care the most about, to be quite honest. The ones who yeah, they're good.
I don't know what Roseanne was doing before this, but
being an idiot.
I mean, sure. I do think it was, I don't know. I don't want to say it's good. But it feels odd that we were giving her a slide for the crazy shit she was saying before now. I guess was the point I was about to make.
Yeah.
Because it makes me think, like, were we just okay with everything else she had been saying up until now? Or what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, I think what it was we didn't just pay attention to her anymore because she wasn't in the limelight. I think that's the issue. Before she came back with the show, who thought about Roseanne? Let's be honest.
I thought about her every fucking day.
You would, because you make bad choices on women.
I mean,
and this is why Ruby Riott would never want you, because she just wouldn't.
Wow, you said that shit. Okay. I'm gonna let that one go.
She's like, I don't understand what's going on, but I feel like you're putting me in the position of these two women, and I don't want to be compared to them, so I'm not even going to fuck with you.
This guy. Moving on.
saying. Anyway, moving on. So Trump has lost his flagship show that he felt like he could relate to the most.
Actually, did he say anything about that? I'm just curious if he cares, or I don't know why. Part of me just expects him to say like,
he will.
Of course they canceled it because it was about me and they hate me.
Of course he will. He's gonna find a way to say some bullshit because
he is who he is.
That's him. Just like with Memorial Day. Perfect segue. So we have just celebrated Memorial Day here in the United States, which, if you don't know what Memorial Day is, it is a day to honor the fallen soldiers who served in the United States military and lost their lives in the line of duty. It's a day of reflection and, honoring these soldiers, both the ones who've lost their lives and the ones who continue to serve, as well. Not for Trump, though, because Trump decided he was going to tweet a interesting Memorial Day tweet in which he went on to talk about how, like, we honor the military, but hey, I bet you the people who died would be proud of how America was today because lowest employment rate and the best economy. We're doing it big here and blah, 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 blah. And that message ended up falling flat on his face because people were offended that he decided to make it a campaign speech instead of just giving thanks and paying tribute to the troops, which is what the day was supposed to be about. What is your thoughts on this whole thing?
Yeah, I think I tweeted at you when you brought that up, the outrage that was around that. I don't remember what the headline was, like backlash or something, when Trump, jerks himself off during Memorial Day. And I'm like, yeah, big headline. Trump does exactly what you knew he would do and what he always does. Surprise. I would have genuinely been more shocked if he didn't brag about himself in some way. I'm not saying that because I don't like him or he did be hyperbolic. I would have genuinely been more shocked if he had just said, something nice about the veterans and then left it at that, because he never leaves it at that. Should I put this? The thing you have to understand is Trump's motivation for anything he says and does, right? It's about him all the time. He sees things through the spectrum of what it can do for him. If he ever does anything that seems nice, I think at least he's just doing it because he thinks it makes him look good, not because it's actually nice for anybody else. His own benefit is his major motivation in life. I think we all need to understand that. Not tolerate it or anything, but that's why I'm not surprised, because I recognize why he does the things he does. This is exactly in line with his behavior all the time for any other thing. I thought it was disgusting when I'd read it over the weekend, but not shocking. I don't know that it fell flat per se, because I guess your point that there was a backlash, but I don't think he expected to be praised really for saying what he said. I think he just can't help but praise himself. So
no, he did expect to be praised. I honestly don't think that he says anything without getting positive feedback. And when he gets negative feedback, I think the reason why he lashes out is because he just doesn't understand why people don't want to praise and love him.
I would have to think even his supporters were bothered by that. I mean, if you're picking between dead veterans, essentially, and Trump, I have to think even they will pick the veterans. But it's not like I've looked at a survey or anything to see how they felt about that.
Yeah, well, there's been several tweets. It hasn't been just one or two groups. There's been a lot of different military groups that have said so. A couple of senators who actually said something as well. So it is a pretty substantial, and I'm not just saying from the sense of like, the public outcry, but just professionals who don't necessarily appreciate what he did.
But are they the ones that normally support him though?
And that's the thing. It's like I don't know if they are. I would assume some of them are, like, especially in the military aspect, because they're duty bound in a way.
Like I would want to see what like Kelly says, for example.
Yeah, and I feel like he does have problem, but he's not going to say it out loud
because I mean, obviously anybody with any decency would be troubled by what he said, but the things he says seems to just like roll off his supporters in a way that is shocking, and I want to see what it would take to actually bother them.
Yeah, nothing. I still say nothing will bother them. Because again, as I said before, you're talking about a guy who intentionally said before that his path to winning was to take advantage of them because they're stupid. And he did so. And he continually does so, yet they continually support him because as long as they have their, image or illusion that they're in control, they don't really care. They just need this guy to be their figurehead for them. You know what I mean? It's a weird thing. It's like he could probably say he'll kill the Pope in his sleep if he could, and he'll still get support.
I wouldn't be surprised.
You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. He could offend so many different groups, and because it's like their weird need to have him there, because if he's still there, they're still in control, or at least they can get the feeling of being on top. Yeah, which is mind-boggling, but that seems to be the way that this whole thing is shaken out. It's like we're not interested in necessarily policy, democracy, or anything like that. We just need you in charge so we can be in charge, which
is working in the short run, I guess.
Yeah. Now, this election cycle will be where we would see if it's going to actually work in the long run, because we do have midterm elections coming up, and there's a lot of battleground for different seats in the election. So it's like, how many of you are going to focus on just the rhetoric that he keeps up, or what's actually been going on?
Yeah, odd times, but I mean, I like what you said earlier, that when he says the types of things he says, and the fact that he's surprised that he doesn't get a positive reaction. I think that's what scares me about him, is like anybody with a brain should know what he's getting ready to tweet is going to drive some people fucking nuts. And yet he just does it anyway. And you can make the argument in some cases, well, it plays well with his base, even if it doesn't play well with the rest of society. But some of the things, like even that thing, I don't think it plays well with his base. I think they might just not care. But it won't get like love from them that he said that. So it didn't play well with them, I would assume. And it's played much less well with everybody else. So I don't know what the point of that shit was.
Yeah, no, but that's how it goes. It's just like they just allow shit to go just to can maintain this thing. It's just like with the Congress, like a lot of people have said. It's like they're letting a lot of things slide that they probably normally wouldn't, in hopes to keep their advantage. And I think this is where, like, you get to these midterms, it's not going to work. Especially with him kind of derailing the campaign for them in a way, in my mind. With segue into another topic, Donald Trump has come out and publicly stated that he feels that Robert Mueller will be meddling in the 2018 midterms to help cause Republicans to lose seats. He tried to do a rallying cry for all of the MAGA crowds and all the Republicans that we need to stop Mueller from being and the 13 angry Democrats, as he likes to call them, from taking over and dictating our midterms through these elections. It's like, why would you even want to claim something like that?
I mean, the same reason he's claiming that there was a spy during his campaign, because he wants to make them seem delegitimate in the eyes of the public. Illegitimate, I should say. He wants to shake the public's faith in this investigation, so if it even finds anything, you'll have a significant portion of the population already riled up enough to make this a problem, because Mueller's probably just going to, create a report on this whole situation, right? So it's not like he'll necessarily try to indict this guy. He'll probably write a report, and then it would be in Congress's hands, right?
Yeah.
And if
he don't want it to get that far, though. That's the thing.
I mean, true, but if it does, and it's politically unstable enough, what do you do?
That's a good question.
I'm not saying that they should not impeach him or whatever, punish him legally, whatever the case may be after that report comes out. I'm not saying that they should not do that because a bunch of people won't like it, but there is a political aspect outside of just the legal aspect at this point, assuming that it just goes to being a report that Congress has to decide on.
It's going to be weird because I just feel like, while I think there's going to be a monumental shift in this year's midterms, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be brutal. And the aftermath is something that I will not understand or know, because this is like an ugly time politically. You see all the races that have gone down. You see the races between Republicans, like you get the Don Blankerships and all of that, or the guy, and I forget what state it is that we talked about last time, who makes comments like, I won't give my children their inheritance unless they marry all white people. And just like,
he's cool with the deportation bus.
Right. Oh my God. The bus in Georgia. It's like people are running off some of the most foul premises, and they're, they may not always win, but they're coming close in the places where they lose. It's just like, think about the whole, go back to the Alabama elections with Roy Moore and Doug Jones. That wasn't a far, that gap between them wasn't that far. Jones literally won by thousands of votes. And you think about the things that Moore said, it's like, those should get you in legal trouble, the things that he talked about. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That almost get you a fucking office, which it almost did.
I guess there's just no such thing as disqualifying anymore. Like we all said before the presidential election that Trump said many things that should have been disqualifying in themselves. Here he is. I just said that there's plenty of things the EPA head has done that should be disqualifying, and yet he's still there. So.
Yeah, and that's the problem. It's like, so.
I mean, I know there's an investigation or whatever with the EPA head. I'm not saying they're doing absolutely nothing, but they're doing nothing. He's still fucking there.
Yeah, because you would think that they would at least suspended him while they did all this. The amount of shit that he had. Like, jeez. But
some people are above the law, apparently.
So yeah, I predict you're gonna see Trump doing a lot of crying over the next few months. I do think that you're gonna eventually get the big shift, but it's gonna end up seeming tainted because he's a master at making things look like weird like that. His constituencies are going to go nuts if they lose the Senate. They're gonna go nuts. If they lose both the House and Senate, it's gonna be fucking hysteria.
But so I had mentioned, as people have been mentioning a bit ago, that this is all part of the strategy to delegitimize Mueller and all this stuff. But he has definitely become increasingly bold with his shit over the last month or so, right? I mean, to just say that they put a spy in his campaign, and now he's just outright saying that Mueller's team will tamper with the investigation just to fuck him. Like, they're just out loud, boldly, in front of everybody, just swinging wild at this point. They're not just implying shit at this point. I mean, it feels a bit different than what they've been doing up until now. I don't know if I'm imagining that difference, if you don't agree, but it certainly seems like an ever more blatant assault.
I don't know. Well, if he can prove that Mueller's interfering into the election, kudos to you, sir, I guess.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, you talk about proving, he never had any proof before he even said any of this shit. He's just saying it. I feel like, I mean, let's take a step back. I feel like even just saying this shit without any proof should get you in trouble in itself. I hope if like there's an obstruction of justice, whatever being built up, this is added, because it definitely feels like obstruction of justice. Not in the legal sense. Like, I'm not a lawyer or anything. I just mean like it feels like his attempt must be to obstruct justice. Why else would he do this?
No, it is, and it goes to the next topic where Rudy Giuliani has went batshit insane as usual. Showing up on anybody's TV show talking, and he openly admitted, yeah, we're throwing out these weird lies and accusations to try to disrail the whole investigation and to try to like make it end up collapsing by pointing out things that may not be true but kind of can help sway the public opinion. It was a very weird interview, as always, as with all of Giuliani's interviews these days. He would say shit like that in front of a camera, because he went on the whole rant to where he got to, like, because at the end of the day, this is about to impeach or not to impeach, and we're trying to get them to where they won't impeach. Okay, yeah, again, sure you are, because who wants to be impeached? We have not had a U.S. president fully impeached ever in our history.
I think it goes back to what I was saying about being more bold. Like, he can just go on TV and say, yeah, we're trying to fuck up the investigation or whatever, which should be him admitting to a crime, right? Trying to fuck with a federal investigation. I mean, the corruption charge thing again, right? Like, this, not corrupt, corruption? What's the word I'm looking for? Obstruction, excuse me.
I mean, that works too, corruption. But yeah.
I mean, it feels like he just out loud admitted that they're trying to obstruct the investigation, which is a crime, is it not?
Yes, criminal obstruction. You can be charged with that, especially on a federal fucking investigation. He's a moron. He's a fucking moron. Why would you admit something like that? I would never, ever in my wildest dreams be like, yeah, I'm trying to fuck up over your shit with some bullshit.
We've all been saying that that's what they're doing for a while now, but to just say it out loud and admit it, increased confidence, I guess. I just don't understand, or maybe it's just an increased sense of urgency. I don't know what the fuck I don't know. Again, it feels to me like they're turning up the pressure a bit, though I don't fully understand why.
Yeah, I don't either. Which is why also as an aside, I don't know if it was yesterday or Sunday, but Rudy Giuliani celebrated his birthday by going to a game at Yankee Stadium, and wasn't a happy occasion because the entire stadium booed him. I think it is weird because if you see the video, I'll have to remember to send it to you. They announce his name and you just hear boo all through the stadium. Like, wow, y'all,
Happy birthday, motherfucker.
Right. The guy who everybody dubbed as America's mayor during 9/11 gets booed out the fucking park by a New York baseball team.
I mean,
yeah.
I guess it shows that not everybody is willing to put up with insanity. I don't think of baseball as like a highly liberally loved sport or whatever.
Me neither. That's the thing that made it funny. No, they booed the fuck out of him.
I wonder if he was surprised or if he.
No, he tried to play it off because he was on the cell phone.
Mm.
And I was like, "Oh, you know that hurts. Don't be mad." Either that, or he was trying to call a lawyer. I was like, "Can I sue all these people?" They were like, "No, like Rudy, you're a lawyer. You know you can't. Shut up."
Sue baseball. Let's sue baseball.
Right. That damn thing has too many threads on it anyway.
Shut this whole game down, Tribune.
Right.
I'm sure on some level he just loves the attention being back on TV again and shit. So I doubt he's losing too much sleep over it because he just gets that attention.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he should start his own version of Roseanne and invite Trump to be on it.
I mean, that's probably what's going to happen is like one of those guys in that camp is just going to bankroll their version of Roseanne or something. It'll be like really awkward because only Roseanne is in it. And she's just cutting fucking loose. Trump makes guest appearances because he's just like that.
That's what he's going to do. They're just going to hire her to his cabinet, Trump's cabinet. That's Roseanne's new job, by the way. She's going to be Secretary of Race Relations or some shit like that.
I mean, so you say that like it's not a real possibility.
No, I say that as it is a possibility.
Okay, I'm just trying to be very clear that it wouldn't shock me at all.
No, it wouldn't shock me either.
Maybe Roseanne will replace Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Yo, she could play the lead in Roseanne. Make a TV show called Sarah.
Oh my god. It makes me feel bad that this stuff is so possible.
I mean, why not? It's called Sarah. They still use that music, by the way. I don't know. I have no intention of watching the new run of the show. So
yeah, same. And not because Roseanne tweeted some crazy ass shit. I hadn't watched it before.
Because anybody who knows me knows I'm vehemently against these reboots of these older TV shows. Like I heard the rumor that they're trying to bring Martin back. I'm like, no, leave that shit alone.
Yeah, I'm good.
I like bringing Fuller House and all that shit. Go ahead with that shit.
Like, I only tend to want that type of thing if the story never really ended. Like, we never got closure. Otherwise, like, I tend to not care. I feel like Roseanne had fine closure, so I've not been pining over the last 20 years for, like, a Roseanne continuation.
Who knows? This is why I don't want to do a long show, because this administration is exasperating. They keep doing dumb shit. Speaking of them doing dumb shit, ICE reported that 1,500 children have been lost in the records. How do you lose track of 15?
I wasn't part of this.
I'm asking anybody. Who the fuck?
I wasn't there.
Who the fuck loses 1,500 people? Children, no less.
So this administration has really cranked up the pressure on illegal immigration, I suppose. They've, I can't remember what the exact policy shift they had was, but essentially they've been separating parents from their kids in a fairly gruesome kind of way down at the border. Even people seeking asylum. So people not even trying to illegally cross the border, people who come up and legally say, you know, I'm coming from a fucked up place. Can we have asylum? Essentially, they take their kids from them too, as I understand it. Certainly correct me if I'm wrong there. That was the way I understood it, at least. So you've got a bunch of kids, essentially, that they've got custody over that were taken from the border crossing stuff. and some of them are unaccounted for.
But how do you lose them? That's my question.
I mean, I'm sure they were having trouble keeping track of it. 1,500 is a lot.
Yeah, that's a nice, huge number. That's not just any basic number.
I mean, I don't know. Like I don't mean to joke about it too much. It is fairly horrific because again, like this is on purpose by them. Who is it? Sessions that said if you come over illegally or whatever, we're gonna take your kids or some shit like that. I mean, they were very blatant about the intention of doing this, seemingly to curb illegal immigration, which is a weird way to try to curb it. I don't even really know what to say about this effort by them.
Conspiracy theory. Do you think that this is them hiding some illegal names just for the purpose of using them in other manners off the books?
What do you mean?
Well, it's funny because somebody made a suggestion, which I don't think is true, but is a possibility that they could have just messed up these records in order to not have to document 1,500 people who can be put to labor in areas which don't necessarily allow.
Yeah, I doubt even they would be willing to take the political pressure that they just got for doing this, because this is infuriating people who are aware of it. As it should. It is a serious fucking problem. And isn't this the guy who's this Trump guy? He said something about having a policy made with love or some shit when he talks about immigration, and then he takes like one of the hardest stances possible on this issue. I just don't know what to say about it.
I don't either, because I'm sitting here looking at this stuff, and it's just like I'm trying to weigh where they can kind of gloss this over. And it's funny because all of this came out after you see ICE try to like whitewash their bureau by changing the name. What did ICE change their name to?
I didn't know they changed their name.
Yeah, it's no longer ICE anymore.
I thought ICE was a nice menacing name. Are we trying to scare the immigrants away?
Yeah, by offering them cool refreshment.
I mean, this is certainly in line with the way he's been talking about it for a long time. Some time ago, he was mentioning these caravans of illegal people coming up, even though, again, some of them were, one, not going to come to America. They were just going up into Mexico. But others would be trying to legally seek asylum in America. So he was certainly misleadingly trying to make it seem like we were being flooded by these illegal criminals coming into the country all the time.
Yeah, like the comments he made about them being animals and stuff like that, irrespective of who he was talking about, which, I
mean, we can talk about the issue of illegal immigration in general, but that's not what he does. Because sometimes I feel like when people hear him talk about this, they feel the need to say, well, illegally crossing the border is a crime, and we should deal with that. And sure it is, and sure we should. But that's not what he does. He makes the issue seem a million times worse than it is in practice. To kind of hype up the crowd against immigration in general.
Yeah, and it's like when stories like this come out after he says stupid shit, it just kind of oh my god, it's a very strange fucking thing to do, knowing that you're gonna get hit over the head with this stuff.
And again, for anybody who is on that defense train. We're just talking about illegal immigration with stuff. Some of these kids that were taken were not from people trying to cross the border illegally. Again, they were seeking asylum quite legally. So they weren't really doing anything wrong.
Yeah, that's the weird part. It's like he was attacking the ones who had legally applied for things. It's like, dude.
But I say that to show the point. It's not just with him about illegally crossing the border. It is just a disdain for immigrants in general. I think this policy shift they have, this focus they have on this, shows that this is not, but we have too many illegal people crossing the border and bringing drugs up from Mexico into America, which again was an overblown statement anyway. He just doesn't like immigrants. It's a bit just racist.
Yeah, it's troubling, and now you have these children missing. Like I said, I can see where conspiracy theories would come up with the whole. They're just hiding these children so that people who will have a kind of like public decry of illegal immigrants can actually use them, because I wouldn't put it past someone. It's like a lot of people that I've noticed who give a lot of the anti-immigration rhetoric. I bet you if you dug into their affairs that they benefit off of illegal aliens a lot. So,
I'm sure a fair amount of us do. Not that I'm justifying people coming in illegally or anything, but I think we can assess the true damage of a crime. Like people coming over here and then working illegally, I mean, we could still consider that a crime and still punish it or whatever, but it's not the same as people coming over here and like just killing somebody or dealing drugs. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not justifying coming here illegally, but we shouldn't just assume that the result is always horrific. That's just not realistic.
Because to me, when
factual.
he says stuff like that, you're making the assumption that these people can't do criminal acts. It's just like his whole thing with the MS-13. They have a significant amount of weight in their own countries. Like you hear the stories about how like a lot of like the one story that came up a couple of years ago where there was this company that makes safes that uses prison labor from Mexico, and members of the MS-13 or whatever group it was actually using the safes to fulfill drug orders by having people who needed certain drugs order specific types of safes, and they were in prison packing them. It's like they're doing this on Mexican soil. Clearly, they don't need to be here to do illegal shit. You know what I mean? It's like, so why are you so hell-bent on the idea that the only reason people want to come here is so they can be criminals? They can be criminals any fucking way they want. Oh.
It shouldn't be forgotten that there are kids suffering in this, which I believe Trump has shown time and time again that even kids are not above being used as tools for him. Because he did, what the fuck was the name of that program that they were like battling over a few months ago when the government was going to shut down? Huh?
You talking about DACA?
I mean, yeah, definitely that. There was also like some food related program too.
Oh yeah, I forget what you're talking about, but I know what you mean. I forget the name of it, I should say, but I know exactly what you mean.
But those are two other examples where he was essentially just using kids straight up as political fodder without any regard at all. Because at the end of the day, it was kids mostly who were suffering from all that shit he was doing, and he just doesn't give a shit. And that is the most concerning part of it, because this is just yet another example where, I mean, these are kids like, what, 7, 8, 9, some of them just infants being pulled from their parents' arms and sent God knows where the fuck where. For what? And even if you don't want to bring them into the country, why separate them? Why not just send them back with their fucking kids?
Yeah, that would be at least a little bit more humane.
But yeah, it is part of their strategy, right? They want to put the fear of God into these people. I guess that if you come here with your kids, you're not going back with your kids, I guess is their point. Which I do believe was essentially along the lines of what Session was getting at when he announced this sort of policy shift. I'd seen what's her name, Ivanka, who's getting a little shit around this issue too, because she posted up some picture with her baby or whatever. And everybody was like, yeah, it's kind of tone deaf considering your daddy's administration is pulling kids out of their parents' arms.
Well, I mean, she wasn't never a thinker anyway, clearly. I don't think any of his children are.
I mean, it is fairly fucking tone deaf. Like,
yeah.
I don't know what her purpose was for doing that. Maybe she just wanted to have like a nice picture with her kid or whatever, which would be understandable, but
well, they don't read rooms. They don't read rooms as well at all. They really don't. Mind you, I can make an argument that maybe we shouldn't be so hard on them in these cases. But again, it's like at the same time, it's just like I could feel a certain way about a certain thing. Say like, say I was dumb enough to not think the women should be able to get equal pay in the workspace. And I ran a company. As a CEO of a company, and look who's seeking employees, the best employees in the world, I'm not going to fucking say, you know, we have a world where there's this debate over equal pay. So instead of keeping my mouth quiet about this and keeping my business afloat, I'm going to say, you know, I always pay every woman I hire less because they're women. They're not going to do as much as a man do, and men are more valuable. Again, read the room. I mean, I feel that way, but I know what the like climate and how things go with the employment, you know, with the employment now and all the employee rights. I might want to just like be quiet, not do it, like not pay them low, or if I'm going to do it, try to keep my head down and not fucking get caught in the shitstorm when someone finds out. Like, I'm not going to perpetuate the problem. You know,
I mean, try. It seemed like the type of thing one could let slide because, yeah, I mean, at least I haven't noticed. It certainly isn't like Ivanka herself takes such a hard line on immigrants. I could be wrong about that, but I've never noticed her saying that much about it. In fact, I don't really know if she, I don't know, maybe you could answer this. Like, what strong political views does she really hold that she shared with us?
her dad's going to make America great again.
But I don't even think she believes that. Like,
I don't either.
I feel like she says that because she feels an obligation to.
Honestly,
it's like
she said that much either. I don't feel like she was ever a gung-ho supporter.
Right. Like, she's essentially like a socialite or whatever. Like, she makes appearances because it looks good. And that's about it. Like, she doesn't seem ideologically driven in any way. Like, Trump has some incredibly stupid ideas, but he's pretty hardcore about them, whereas she almost never talks about any actual ideas. She's just trying to keep the Trump brand looking good. So when I say you could maybe even let this slide with her, it's like, because she's never really taken this kind of hard stance on immigrants at all. So it seems almost unfair to go after her for that, but the context is what it is. It is at least tone deaf.
Yeah, definitely. They're just all fucking toned. I mean,
it's similar to the defense I gave Melania when she was doing her little program or whatever. It's like, everybody's saying it's weird that you're talking about bullying when your husband's a bully. Well, Melania isn't a bully. She's not bullying anybody, in general, at least. Like, I don't know where the line is here, but like, it didn't seem fair to go after her so hardcore because her husband is a fucking bully. Like, she can do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the consequence of why people would, but at the same time, it is unfair because it's like, this is not who I am. It's like I'm guilty by association. But It's
now the rest of us are like, you can't post pictures of your kids, you fucking asshole. Your dad's a dick. How dare you?
yeah, and it's like it's an innocent thing, but shit, it lays her open, and that's just I think if I had any type of sympathy for anything that goes on this administration is that it's like maybe not his children, but his grandchildren, or like Barron, are going to have to suffer for being associated with that name, unless they all are raised to be as dickish and asshole like as the rest of his family, like his children are. The next generation of Trump is going to have a hard road, especially if they try to get redemption through liberalism and like change like family views. Because it's like your dad was just, like Ivanka, your dad Jared is a fucking joke and a fucking, horrible person. How defend yourself, sir? And it's like they're gonna have to grow up defending themselves unless they feel the same way. Then they don't give a fuck.
I mean, they could probably slide with the liberal shit though, because again, most of them are not that ideologically driven about anything. Like, what has Ivanka ever talked about? Even Jared, he's not like hard right in any way. He's somewhat liberal, isn't he? Like,
no,
he's a snake in the grass or whatever, but he's not one of these psycho level conservatives. I don't think he's conservative in general. Like,
yeah, he might not be. He might just be because he's of who he's around. He chooses this path. Yeah,
because like Don Jr. says some shit where you can be like, yeah, he's an asshole. He at least has ideas that are stupid, but like the rest of them seem to just not even have ideas. Or whatever ideas they have, they're at least not in line enough with their fathers to be mentioned out loud. So I think when people were looking back, when this presidency first started looking to Ivanka to like
be the calming agent.
I think it's because they at least believe that she did not share the president's views. And to be fair, she does not seem to. She's just not willing to stand up to what his are.
Yeah, no, it seems like he's surrounded by a bunch of people who have no ideology whatsoever. They're just in it for the ride, which I guess we've stated, and the people who've stated plenty of times. It's just still disheartening and alarming to know that these people are willing to stand by and watch this stuff go on.
I'm somewhat confused because, ironically, I see someone like Ivanka as being somewhat calculated, not like out of control like her dad. Like, again, she wants to make the Trump brand look all right. But ironically, she probably could be gaining a ton of favor for herself if she separated away from her dad. Like, I should put this, she could look like the rebel away from the family trying to be like a good fucking person if she just did not indulge her father's madness.
I'm trying to think, whose daughter was that? I don't know if it was a presidential daughter or another like politically related or celebrity related daughter, who was probably looked upon that way. Like, she was the daughter of someone who like very high up or famous, and she was kind of more liberal during the 70s and 60s, and like she kind of did separate herself a bit from that and made a mark for herself because she was like, I know back in the day, Ronald Reagan Jr. was kind of like that, because he was a more liberal-minded person, and he was kind of looked as the black sheep of the family because he wasn't the staunch, Reaganomics conservative and all of that. So maybe he's someone that you can look to, where it kind of worked in his favor, to kind of be quote unquote against his dad. I don't know.
I mean, it would seem like, as far as branding goes, the best strategy, because you would look even better than you are just by comparison, because you're not just standing up to Trump, you're standing up to daddy, right? you'd be choosing what's right over your family. So it seems like she could actually make her brand. She could have at least made her own brand far more valuable by not indulging this shit. Like, I feel like her business strategy was the wrong one. I can understand like Don Jr. doing that because he doesn't have much of a brand in himself. Or even the other kids, I guess. Even Kushner kind of, but like, I just don't understand it from Ivanka. She's always presenting herself as far smarter than this. Maybe she just actually loves her dad. I don't fucking know.
You know, I find it funny that you say she presents herself as far smarter. I can kind of dispute that, only in the sense that what is she going up against to, you know, that makes her look, quote unquote, far smarter? Look at her father. Look at her brothers. That's not a hard thing to be, is quote unquote smarter.
No, it's not a hard bar, high bar.
Or at least be considered that.
And maybe smarter wasn't even the word. Just she clearly has more interest in keeping her image kind of pure than like Trump does. Like she's never. I don't know how to put it. She never says anything about that crazy. She's never caught in these stupid. The only time she ever looks bad is largely when she refuses to like go against daddy or defend him.
When she's doing what I guess you could say a child does, which is defend their parent.
Yes. Otherwise, she's fairly benign. And she walks out well dressed or whatever, speaking however she speaks. If Trump wasn't there, you either wouldn't notice her or she'd probably be looked upon more favorably. Like,
well, no, because weren't we talking the last episode about like where the hell she was, and in particular her husband? They had kind of disappeared from the limelight until like this past week when he finally resurfaced. When they were like, "Oh yeah, he got his security clearance back," but you didn't really see him. Like he was there for that Jerusalem thing, him and her, and they got smashed for what they had to say at that. But it's like outside of that, they've kind of been quiet for months.
Sure. Because unlike Trump, they don't you don't see Ivanka on Twitter losing her shit every 2 minutes, right? Like she just doesn't feel the need to do that kind of thing. So when I say she's smarter, I mean like as far as protecting the brand.
Yeah, no.
She's
usually it's like
not a loose cannon like him.
Yeah, it's her father or Donald Jr. or Eric that are acting like the assholes in the family. And she
like how quotable do you find her? Like you can think of things that Trump definitely or even Don Jr. said that are extreme problems. There's not that many quotes from Ivanka because you just never hear her.
Yeah, no, because the bad stuff that she gets knocked on, it kind of disappears because it's like, oh my God, you sound so stupid, girl. Shut up. And then she shuts up. She don't combat it. She doesn't necessarily combat it like they do. Like they like say stuff and then people respond and then they want to keep going. It's like, dude, shut up. You're not gonna win this one, but they keep plugging at it. And it's like, yeah.
So bad on her. And again, I don't know, it's depressing because there's kids being fucked with for no reason. Not just against the parents too, because again, I'm speaking largely about the asylum seekers, but even the crossers. Like, if you want to send them back, just send them back with their kids. What is your fucking problem?
Yeah, or at least find some way to like detain them together until you kind of can figure out something. At least give the, it's the dumbest. It's
disgusting, and it is a result of this increasing America and that's it fucking viewpoint to the point where even wanting to come here is just a gigantic issue.
Yeah.
Your coming here is crime enough to deserve any kind of punishment, apparently. Even having your kids taken away. Because again, I can tolerate the idea that crossing the border illegally is a crime. But you punish the crime appropriately, right? Like you don't Like if you stole like a candy bar, I wouldn't cut your arm off in America.
Oh, clearly we do though. Now, that's the sad part. Like, you got kids going in front of judges trying to like plead their case. Like, the fuck is a 3-year-old gonna do to plead his case as to why he wants to lead? Like, it's like ridiculous shit like that they come up with.
I feel like we need more footage of that just being circulated around to show people how ridiculous the concept is. Because I mean, you're right. Like, you have kids themselves who are just like in the courts without their parents. It's fucking ridiculous.
It is.
And you have these parents who, some of them just don't even know where their kid is.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you've lost 1,500 children in the system. That's just ridiculous. Hopefully, they figure something out.
And I hope that is a sticking point in the public conversation longer than other things are, because that is fucking crazy. You took these kids without any good reason, and then you lost them. Bruh.
Yeah.
You need to find whatever paperwork you guys have, clean that shit up, and get yourselves organized and find these motherfuckers, because that's crazy.
Well, you said the magic word, get yourself organized, and that's something that you might not want to expect from this administration.
But that's part, right? Because when you earlier you said, like, how could you lose 1,500 kids? Because they're not organized at all, which is part of the reason they should not have done this, is because obviously they wouldn't have been able to handle it. They already had issues with like staffing shit at the border before now. Like this, having enough people to process these issues at the border was already a problem, and now you added taking kids away. What the fuck? You had to have known that you could not handle this issue.
Yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, all right, last topic, and then I can go play Detroit Become Human. Sorry, people, but I need to cut my evening short. No, that's not right. I'm cutting this short because I actually do have something important to do school-wise. Plus, I need a break. God damn, I talk too much about Trump these days. I think we're good. I think we're almost due for another non-Trump show, don't you?
I mean, like, if we were, then I guess we are now, because the last time we talked, it was about 4 hours of Trump. So
Oh my God.
I guess you could even argue that this show should have been a non-Trump show.
Yeah, we could have.
Maybe we dropped the ball on that.
Yeah, because there was, I mean, a couple of things I'm sure we could have like focused in on, other than the Trump family and his, the Memorial Day bullshit and all that. But he makes it so hard to get free. Like, we could have just talked about the Missouri governor and how he's a hoe.
I didn't want to let the 1,500 kids thing go, though, because that's been on my mind the last couple of days. Like, that shit is nuts.
No, it's a ridiculous thing.
I need that motherfucker to. I was gonna say, just like do something, like acknowledge that you fucking caused this issue. Because I mean, shit at the border has always been a bit of a clusterfuck, but I mean, you kicked it up a hell of a lot of notches, bro. Oh my God.
It's a ridiculous thing.
But what was the last topic?
So it's Trump related. And this is the problem. This is why we need a palate cleanser, because God damn it, this man is in the news on everything. Because even if you go back to the Roseanne shit, that's Trump related. Because part of the hype was that they had this whole, with Roseanne tweeting before the show dropped how she supported Trump and how this is supposed to bring back the American value show, and how she did she did controversial episodes that kind of leaned towards the way Trump people thought. Everything's Trump. Fuck. All right. So, North Korea is now considering sending over an official, a high-ranking official, to the United States to continue with trying to hash out the whole Korean summit. If you don't know, about what, a week and a half ago, Trump officially issued a letter claiming that the United States would no longer engage in the North Korea South Korea summit to negotiate peace between the countries. He's saying that he didn't trust basically North Korea to do the right thing. North Korea had already wanted to withdraw to begin with because of the military operations that North America, I should say, and South Korea conducted on the South Korean peninsula. It's been kind of a mess over that, but now you have Washington officials heading to North Korea that are apparently engaging in negotiations to try to put the summit back on. You have this official coming to Washington. All the while, Trump's just sitting there relatively quiet about this issue. I'm surprised he's not. Maybe somebody has put a gag order on him for this, because I would have expected him to kind of instigate something in this whole matter beyond that letter that he did.
I mean, I'm sure he's more focused on trying to fuck Mueller in the ass, so I don't think he's ignoring it or anything. I think he's just preoccupied.
Yeah, his obsession with this whole Mueller investigation.
Because when I think about what he's been talking about, otherwise, it's largely this, the fake Russia collusion witch hunt, as he calls it. And, pointing out that there's a spy and all this shit. Like, he's been very vocal about that over the last couple of weeks. So I think what you're sensing as far as silence about the North Korea thing is just a result of focus on Mueller.
Just real quick, as an aside, do you really think that the Mueller thing has something that's got him scared for him to do this? Like, seriously? Because he seems to be ramping up. Like, I said this, I don't know if I said it on Twitter or Facebook. I said this, but about, like, the latest thing with him, like, accusing Mueller of wanting to tamper with the 2018 midterm. He said the man is going to tamper in something that's, like, months away, by the way, people. Think about this. We're a little under 6 months away from all of this going down. And he's setting the stage that this election is going to be tampered with by an FBI investigation that has nothing to do with this election and is focused on 2016. But their agenda is to fuck with this election. It makes no fucking sense. God damn it. And it's like, yo, you're pulling the gun on that a little too early, sir.
I mean,
that scared? Is he that? Do you really think that he's that scared at this point?
Probably. I'm trying to think about what might have triggered this. I guess it could have been when the news came out about raids on Cohen and such, and just the overall fact that Mueller's team are working like a well-oiled fucking machine, I guess, because they're indicting motherfuckers left and right. I mean, you certainly can't accuse them of being lazy, because they seem like they're all over the goddamn place. Just, you better keep your nose clean, because he might knock on your door, is the kind of feeling I get from this guy. So I think just the actual results Mueller has gotten over the last year, combined with the fact that maybe Cohen had some unpleasant paperwork on him that got seized up in those raids that Trump is aware of, and it bothers him. Because I have to assume that something in particular triggered this increase in the pressure, because he's not been shy about his issue with this shit, but it definitely feels like he's cranked up the pressure on it. So maybe he's aware. Maybe he had something in his mind that he wanted to keep secret, and now he has a reason to believe that Mueller might have found it by now.
Yeah, it was just a weird thing, because I'm just like, dude, you keep saying that you're innocent. This ain't the actions of an innocent man, in my opinion.
Or it could just be frustration with the time. I mean, more and more as the days roll by, we keep finding out these weird ass stories about Trump's people in Trump's camp and their connections to Russians. Like, I don't know if I've even met a Russian person before, like until my adult life, but these guys are like deeply tied to Russia, and not just random people with Russian name, like oligarchs and shit. So every day, the situation for them looks more and more damning, and hard to deny that there's something there. I definitely say early on, I wasn't too sure about what collusion would have looked like, but there's a weird amount of connection between them.
Yeah, it is. It is way too much going on. When it
Not to mention Trump's own efforts to fuck with shit, like when he had Donald Trump Jr., you know, like he dictated some little response for Donald Trump Jr., like last year or whatever, about that infamous meeting, Trump Tower meeting. I'm sure there's plenty of reason for Trump to be very concerned, so I'm not surprised that he's cranking up the pressure. I just don't know what precisely makes him do it. And, you know, you said it doesn't make sense that, you know, the FBI is trying to fuck with the midterm elections. I mean, it doesn't make sense that they tried to fuck with the 2016 elections, does it? Because they won. I don't understand his notion that, you know, they had spies in my campaign, blah, 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 and they were trying to fuck with us. How? You won. And the information that they had, they did not share until after you won. Like, what? If their whole goal was to fuck you, in what way did they fuck you? Into the presidency? Like, it's just so weird.
Yeah, no, it's extremely dumb because it's like the whole issue with the Mueller investigation isn't to fuck with you. It's to see who was fucking with us as a country. So, yet he seems like just the weirdest. It's the weirdest. It's the dumbest. And again, if I'm not guilty of anything, I'm not tripping like he is. I'm not making all of these, like, you know, accusations and things like this. It's like, come on.
I guess that's the thing. Like, it's not like he's just nervous. Like, he's actively trying to fuck up the thing. So it's like, again, when this thing first started, I did not really think that Trump colluded with Russia. I think, obviously, Russia tried to make them president. That's just known. But I didn't think Trump had anything to do with it. I didn't even really think his administration had all that much to do with it in general. But at some point, like, you know, let's just put all the indictments, all stuff aside. At some point, just his attempts to fuck up the investigation themselves make you feel like he's guilty. Because why else would you do this? You know? I think a lot of us could have just let go of the idea that you didn't work with the Russians directly until you kept working so hard to fuck up the investigation into it. Like, what are you trying to hide? Either it's that, or you just did something worse as far as like business goes or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. But just really quick to get back on this subject.
North Korea.
Because, yeah, how do you feel about the like goings on with the North Korea thing? Do you think they'll be able to bring it back?
I mean, probably, because I do think that they both want it. Like, one of the things Kim Jong-un wants, or North Korea in general, North Korea's leaders over the years have wanted, is to seem legitimate, right? And what better way to look legitimate than having meetings with the US president? Even if it is Trump, it's still significant. So I think he wants it, you know, partially just for the prestige, the legitimacy it would give him. And I'm sure just for other reasons, sanctions and whatnot, he wants it. So I think Kim wants it bad enough, and Trump's ego makes him want it bad enough.
Yeah, it's funny because the one tweet I think I did see him talk about this is when he talked about how great a country North Korea is or can be, or some craziness. I was like, wait, is this Trump talking about North Korea?
He does not know when to use the carrot or the stick.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't at all.
No, but I think something will probably happen between them. I don't know what it will be. Because even before this thing got called off, I didn't quite know what to expect to get out of it anyway. I know he keeps talking about denuclearizing the open and so whatever, but shut the fuck up, right? Like, I think we need to talk more about what that means in reality, because Trump is the kind of guy, like, if he wouldn't just tell you that like this used car that doesn't work is awesome. He'd tell you that like it flies and it gets you laid every day by magic sexy fairies or some random shit. Like, he's a salesman, I guess. Like he just always over exaggerates. So when he says the goal is to denuclearize them, I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to be. And I would like somebody, I would like an adult to explain it to me. Let's put it that way. I don't want to hear him talk about it anymore. I want somebody.
If this were coming from an intelligent, trained school leader, I would say the denuclearization would be to get them to stop producing enriched uranium so they can potentially weaponize themselves. Just like similar to the Iran thing, you know, that deal that he squashed because he thought it was an unfair deal, even though it was fine, and the rest of the world thought it was fine, and nobody else had a problem with it. But clearly we did, because
even if it wasn't fine, that's not really a good reason to just throw it in the garbage. But go on.
Yeah. Look, it's what he does, but I feel like that is his motivation, or at least that's what a civilized person's motivation was. Because, yeah, the United States shouldn't be having nuclear weapons either, but expanding nuclear weaponry in the world is something that you kind of want to curtail, and you do need to make certain concessions, which I don't think he's willing to do. It's like with the Iran thing. Part of the thing with Iran is they didn't just want to do it just for weapons, but they kind of do want nuclear power. I'm not a fan of the idea of nuclear power, but a lot of people like to use that because it's a way of getting quick energy and building up your country's energy infrastructure, and helping, especially with your struggling country, a poor country that's trying to grow, like an Iran or like a Korea. It's beneficial. That being said, he can't see the larger picture at all. He never has. He never will. And so,
simple-minded.
Yeah, very, very much simple-minded. And so his whole thing is just like, we just want to strip you of everything. I think another thing is too that he seems to like building codependent relationships. That's part of the reason why he has issues with a lot of these alliances that we set with the world. He needs it to be back to where everybody needed America to kind of thrive, which you're not going to get back again, because between the European Union and other coalitions and the UN trying to work to a more global view, that's just not going to happen. So you need to come to the table with North Korea with a more sensible approach. And that's why I don't know if this is ever going to get back on board, because I can't see him going that route unless somebody could convince him that this is just going to make him look good. And that's all his focus is,
I think back to the presidential election, and I think, so many of us were so focused on what a psycho this fucking guy was that we didn't think enough about what he would be like in these types of situations. Because North Korea was an increasing problem the whole time, right? They were always ramping up to having these kind of weapons. So it was a problem that was always going to present itself. It's not like Trump invented them being a problem. But I guess maybe we all assumed that we would have a competent leader as it became a problem. As you should. I mean, I think we should generally assume that the president is competent. So I don't know. At least it wasn't enough in my mind back then as a reason.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, for me, it always was. That was part of my problem with having this guy win, because it's like people are like, you don't need experience, you don't need an experienced politician, you don't need somebody who, you know, understands. You just need a good guy who's good at negotiating. You just need a good businessman that's good at that. What the fuck you need these people? You just need people who are going to be straight shooters, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, because the world's never worked like that. Even in business, it's never been about being a quote unquote straight shooter or anything like that. You have to have the ability to understand the situation, again, read the room, and be willing to make certain concessions in order to achieve the best situation for everybody. And, you know, he just don't get it. They don't get it. That's why you get people like Rex Tillerson, who, as unexperienced as he was probably your best person. At least he tried. Yet you get other people like Perry, who clearly is just out to live the lavish life, or Ben Carson with the $30,000 table and hiring a wedding planner as his assistant. You know,
sure. Yeah. So I mean, that stuff was always my concern. I didn't understand why people were so hyped on the idea that somebody without experience was going to lead the country. And I was concerned in general about how he would handle certain situations. I just meant the North Korea thing in particular, because it seems like and we all knew that they were a problem fast approaching, let's put it that way. Like, we've known that they've been an issue for a while, that they were building up these weapons. So it was an issue that was on the horizon, and yet it wasn't talked enough about like, I'm trying to think back during the elections, if anybody asked him what he would do about North Korea, what did he say? I might have to look back to see what his response was.
If I remember right,
he kept flooding the news at the time with so much bullshit. Like, you could barely focus on what he was saying was actually.
If I remember it right, the North Korea thing didn't become a question for him until he brought it up, and that he kept railing on, like, you know, how Obama didn't do anything and how Clinton didn't do anything. I think, because honestly, North Korea, while it's always been a focal point of international policy, it wasn't a focused talking point, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily recall us having this roving conversation about what the fuck are we going to do about North Korea, because for all the craziness that North Korea has been known to do, I can't remember them being that as heavily in the news, except for since Trump put them there.
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like, do you remember like the
so used to them? I mean, we've been at odds with them for several generations now, right?
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, do you recall like how many huge driving news stories relating to North Korea do you remember? And I would say previously to 2016, I'll make it short, within the last 4 years of Obama's presidency. How many key stories related to things that Kim Jong-un said, and all of that, or had done? And I can only think of one. I know my one, and that my one is kind of insignificant. But how many can you think of before Trump decided to put them on blast?
I have like vague memories, but nothing in particular. Like, anytime they were running their fucking mouths, it just wasn't seen as a big deal. It was kind of just North Korea being North Korea. Like, that's why I said I think maybe we're just kind of accustomed to them being like that, because we've dealt with Un's father and grandfather, so I mean, I guess even so, I guess your point stands that even if we were used to it, you would think it would be more in the news than it was. But I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
when
like
you have a competent leader, you don't have to worry about it as much. Because to be fair, you know, whenever Kim was saying shit back then, it's not like Obama was indulging it by saying, we're going to blow your ass up or anything crazy like that in return. Nor was it Bush or whoever before. You know, like,
because I don't remember them testing us like this. Like the whole shooting the rocket. Maybe it's just happenstance that they developed this shit during the Trump thing. But I just feel like they weren't pushing.
I definitely say it would have been less noticeable because, again, our previous leaders would not have been engaged in the same childish tit for tat that Trump is with him.
By the way, you know what my one story that I can recall that was quote unquote significant when it came to North Korea, right?
What's up?
That's former NBA player Dennis Rodman. Like I think 4 or 5 years ago, he went there to visit, and people made a big deal about that. It's like that's the biggest North Korea story that I can remember between honestly the Obama administration and the Bush administration.
I guess the fact that they are friends was always a weird thing, but I guess I didn't even think about it as being a news thing.
But yeah, it's like
it happened, yeah.
That is it. I can't really think of anything else.
But your main question was, you know, will this shit get back on track? Sure. I just don't know what that track was or where it was leading, I guess was my point.
On an off note, I'm watching SmackDown, by the way, and why does Mandy Rose intro seems to go dust-esque to me? Anyway. I don't know. Something about it's like the visually speaking, it's like so a gold dust-esque. Anyway.
Old school porn star.
Yeah, she literally seems like she's coming out like she's a Playboy model or something. The like lighting.
Sure. Maybe I shouldn't have said porn star. Maybe Playboy was the more appropriate term. It just feels
She's
old
about to get her ass
school
whipped though, because Oscar's about to beat the shit out of her. So, yeah.
The music is weird.
It's fine. Oscar's here to save us all.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying we're going to probably meet North Korea on some level. I never knew what the fuck to expect from it, and I still don't. So will it get back on track? Yeah, but I don't know what the next station is.
Do you want it to? Hey, this bitch. Anyway.
That was random.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You got to be watching.
I am watching.
Mm-hmm. That's why he says, yeah, it wasn't random.
Oh, well, I'm behind you, I guess. So to me, it was random because I didn't see it until just now.
Like, really? Anyway.
So this Black Vegas guy out here spoiling shit.
Excuse me for my wireless connection being uber fast or whatever. Don't you have cable TV?
No, I'm using Sling.
Oh, okay. I guess PlayStation View is faster than Sling. Okay.
No, I'm sure it's a little behind. I don't know.
Better technology. Anyway. Anyway.
Do I want them to meet? At this point, it feels like the better option compared to what they've been doing before, which is an uncomfortable back and forth about people blowing each other up. Like if they hadn't been engaged in this kind of bigger dick contest for like the last year, I might not care as much that they actually meet and work something out. Do you disagree?
I want it to happen in the like in the era of diplomacy and world peace, because I still have a belief that we can be one of the people who usher in the global unity era. I think it's something that we need to go back to. I don't think it's impossible. I understand that we have a president who can give two fucks about globalism, but you know, if it is just solely based on his ego, I'm comfortable with knowing that we may have peaceful relationship between North Korea and South Korea. I wouldn't say we'll have unification because I don't think they should ever unify anymore. I think Un would never want to do it. I think Moon would, in the sense of bringing his people together, but then you would have to figure out who's in charge. And I don't think Un is ready to give up his hereditary power. I think
should, because he's making North Korea a shithole.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's the problem with most. I guess you don't call it a monarchy because he doesn't call himself an emperor. But it's in a way, it's kind of like a monarchy in the way that it's the issue with them is that you have this one family controlling everything, and therefore not much changes between generation and generation because they're going to pass down certain things. It's hard to find somebody who's willing to break the family tradition, so to speak. And I don't think
I really expect him to give up power, obviously, because he's super powerful there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like he controls he dictates policy, everything. And for the unification, you would have to one give up his position. Because you can't have it the way that it is. You would have to kind of, at best, unification would be leaning more towards a United Kingdom type of position for him, which I don't even think he would accept. And I don't think South Koreans would accept either, because you would have to make someone a sovereign leader. And nobody wants Kim Jong-un as a sovereign leader. So it would be dicey. But if you could bring peace to them where they can at least coexist, and North Korea could just play nice with the rest of the world, I'm all with it because that's a step in the right direction.
I mean, to me, it sounds like you're shooting for more than I am. What I meant was I want them to meet as a means for them to not continue with their "I've got the bigger button" style rhetoric. As in, don't be fighting in such a public way anymore. I don't expect them to really establish peace per se. At least I'm not hopeful for it. It's more like I'm hoping they will stop fighting as much.
No, I guess I am maybe looking for too much. I mean, I guess we should start with the basics, which is that in a way.
I mean, it might not be too much in practice because Moon is out here grinding. You know what I mean? He's really trying to make this peace shit happen. So I don't think it's an unrealistic, a completely unrealistic expectation. I'm just not looking to Trump to do it. I'm not looking to this particular summit necessarily to do it.
And see, I'm not even looking for Trump. I'm just looking for people around him to do it, and then for him to hopefully be sold on the idea simply because it makes him look good. You know what I mean?
Who are these people around him that are supposed to sell him on this?
And that's the thing. It's like the people that he has in charge, like Pompeo. He's getting a lot of credit for the setting up of the meeting, but is Pompeo really the guy that you want?
I mean, it's nice and all, but I just never understand why we talk about people around the president like they're supposed to do shit. I don't see Pompeo doing it. I don't see Bolton. I don't know that Kelly has any interest in this, but I just, because he surrounds himself with who the fuck he wants. So
yeah, maybe the little lady from the UN can step in. She seems like
she's not gonna do shit.
I know, but she seems the most capable. That's the problem.
I guess.
Yeah, he's not surrounded by the best global people.
I mean, would what she says have any weight? Because I mean, she's been like essentially railing against Russia and shit, which the president does not generally do. So the administration is not really in line with her. Plus, we just kicked the Iran deal in the balls. So as a UN representative, she must look kind of stupid right now to the rest of the UN. I'm not saying that she has, like, no sway or whatever. I'm just saying I would think her position is a bit damaged. If maybe that's unfair of me to say, but
no, it is because she's like she still has a job, even though she's willing to buck, so to speak, against the administration a bit. I don't know.
Sadly, the fact that she is willing to buck a wee bit is probably the thing that's really maintaining her credibility.
Yeah.
To whatever extent that she has. Which is probably, it would probably have the opposite effect than any other administration, but here we are.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people are suddenly looking at her favorably because of that. So, and yet Ivanka wouldn't do the same thing.
Maybe he should send Ivanka to negotiate. I don't know. I'm just praying for the best because, like, again, I need like a step towards globalism to be shown, even if it's the slightest like nudge.
The guy kidnapping Mexican kids.
I mean, if it will get rid of like a potential position that could cause like a world war or at least a global conflict, because you gotta think if North Korea and South Korea go to blows, and then we have to try to step in, China's gonna have to step in, and it's just gonna fucking oh man. So yeah. So yes.
I mean, maybe China.
The man who absconds away with many foreign kids and hides them in the homes of his rich friends as labor. Probably. That's a conspiracy that we're going with right now.
I did not sign on that. That's a conspiracy you going with right now. I don't think this shit showing up. Like, I've said plenty of other things that are going to show up later and bite me in the ass. I'm not adding that one to my list. Fuck you.
Okay. In any event, Donald Trump is the man that we may have to rely on to bring order.
I wish you would have said that.
To East Asia.
I wish you hadn't said that.
I said that.
I'm bothered by the fact that you said that.
But it's the truth. This is who is that.
Maybe he should say Ivanka. You know, Jared's got that Middle East shit locked down. Ivanka needs something to do.
He really has that locked down. Okay.
He's bringing peace to the Middle East. Ivanka should go and, deal with the East.
Well, I'm still gonna hope beyond hope for the best. That's all. I'm just trying. I'm out here trying, y'all. I'm out here trying.
All right, well, as depressing as that is, well, I think we probably agreed to do a non-Trump thing next time. So,
yeah, we have to.
That's something to look forward to.
There has to be enough non-Trump news coming. Actually, we're actually in a safe place almost, because while we're gonna do this on the Mouse Clicks and Joysticks Gaming Podcast, me and you can talk about the E3 as well. That'll be the non-Trump thing. It'll be all video games next week as we do our E3 predictions coming up, on one show, and then we can talk about all the games that we're looking forward to on another show. God damn it, something shit. I don't know. We'll figure it out. It ain't gonna be about Trump. No Trump.
Probably won't, because E3 isn't for like 2 weeks, right?
No, but you got to think it's in a weird position because you got to think next Tuesday, when we record, will be what, the 3rd or the 4th? No, the 5th.
Yeah.
E3 is on the 11th. Technically, is on the 10th because that's when they start this thing. So
yeah, but
next week is actually the perfect time to do that.
Predictions thing, sure.
So yeah, so you study up on your video games, sir. Go play Detroit as well.
I'm actually downloading it now.
Yes, play the pretentious game. I actually did a video, by the way. Since I'm going to just go through promos, we'll start promoing for stuff, content. This episode will be following the previous episode where we talk extra Trump. So you guys get about 6.5, 7 hours of Trump talk. Lucky you. From the Reason Reborn, we have a new episode of His Point, Her View podcast that'll be up too. So check that out. Check me and Katina talk on that one.
You made me feel like we should do like 2 non-Trump.
We can. In fact, feel free to join us on the gaming podcast if you want. Tomorrow. At least when we record, I should say. I shouldn't say tomorrow because this ain't gonna show up tomorrow. Anyway. And we can do that. That's fine by me. I'm so happy.
If anybody in the comments places has something they want to hear us talk about instead,
please
maybe put something on Twitter.
You can comment in the comment sections about a topic that you would like us to discuss, even if it's something social or political. As long as it's not about Trump, I am more than happy to talk about it. You can hit us at WisguyGSE on Twitter. You can hit me at Black Vegas. All the Twitter links. His Twitter at Cardiacsumo is there. Somebody, for the love of God, suggest something that doesn't relate to Trump. Trump anywhere, everywhere.
Ivanka doesn't count.
Yeah, the name Trump cannot. The name Trump or anybody related by marriage cannot be a topic. No, anybody hired either. Just no Trump. No Trump, nothing. Nothing.
I might be willing to say, like, not even government shit. Make it social, bro.
Right.
Or not, whatever. You want to talk comics, guys? You can talk comics. My limited ass knowledge.
Yo, Buddy Murphy is in the cruiserweight division. That's interesting.
That dude is that dude's body is different.
No, I mean Buddy Murphy is good. I mean, when him and what's his name were tag team champions, they good.
I didn't recognize it at the time. They were just a couple of guys with Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, no, because which was the one that was dating her?
The other one.
Yeah. And now he's nowhere to be seen. No.
Who cares? Whichever one it was.
Yeah, if y'all want us to talk wrestling, we'll talk wrestling. It's fine. Anything.
Just 5 hours of God damn it, Vince.
You know, the funny thing is, if we talk about WWE, you can make an argument that that's Trump related since Vince and him are boys.
It'd be a bit of a reach.
Man. Anyway.
I'd call it a reach if somebody complained.
So can't escape that, man. Anyway. But yeah, we'll be willing to do anything. Anyway. Anything else you want to leave before I go ahead and finish these promos?
I just want to point out that you said you'd be willing to do anything. So somebody out there is coming with a sexual request. I'm saying. I don't know if I've ever suggested it, but I'd suggest to the people the Waking Up podcast. It's Sam Harris's podcast. I listen to it all the time. Lots of random, interesting topics. The one today is about psychedelics and stuff, but as I scroll through, I remember one that was like on Christianity, There was one where he had a guest that was a former neo-Nazi, which was a very interesting conversation. It was kind of showed how they recruit and do all that stuff. In fact, I even suggest that podcast alone. I might put a link on the video or whatever for that. It's a very interesting discussion. It's a cool podcast. So, Waking Up Podcast. Man, Selena's fine as fuck. Waking Up Podcast, that's my suggestion for the week. I'm not suggesting a book this time. I'm suggesting a podcast by a writer that I like. And you can look at his books too, because they're on the same site.
Nice. Okay, so yeah, look for that. Also, just really quick on personal channel, you'll be happy to know that I'm doing more videos. I've recorded a bunch of commentaries. I did post the Beat Detroit Become Human impressions. I don't know if you saw that, sir. That you told me I was taking forever to do it. But it's been posted days ago. I'm actually going to go back and do a referendum on God of War. So you can look for that. I also have another Detroit video where I discuss what's wrong with David Cage games. It should be interesting to some people, because a lot of people seem to think that there's issues with David Cage games and they suck, and they don't suck. Or at least there's a reason why you think they suck that I think people don't acknowledge. No, I seriously do think there's a reason why people think.
I'm pretty sure this will be my first one from him. I did not play Heavy Rain before, so I guess we'll see if I think it sucks.
Game. But then people just are like really trying to shit on it. In some, like, it's gotten pretty good reviews for the most part, but there are people who try to like extremely shit on it, and it's like, I don't think y'all know why you're shitting on this game, to be quite honest. But
we'll see.
Yeah, no, we'll see. But that video will be out, and then there'll be more videos and stuff like that coming. It's on this channel and my personal channel. More podcasts, all types of good stuff. Hope you guys enjoy it. Then be ready for E3, because we are doing an all-day E3 event, me and Eurostrix. I don't know if it's going to be live, but it's going to be all day us talking about E3, giving reviews like immediately after, and that's going to be fun. Oh, man.
All day? God damn.
From the first conference to the last, and this means Sony. So,
and are you watching it live?
Yes, we're both gonna watch it live. We're probably not gonna do a live stream, because one year we actually live streamed the whole day, including all the conferences. And me and him both agreed we're not doing that again, because that was the most exasperating. This was back when everybody was on Monday, before everybody started to split the conferences up. So it was like you woke up basically from 10 a.m. in the morning. I guess it was 11 a.m. Because Microsoft used to always put theirs on at like 8 a.m. Pacific. So it was like 11 a.m. Eastern till Sony ended around midnight. Me and him just both live streamed.
I was going to ask if you at least like broke it up, because I mean,
no, like our breakups was in between. We would like take breaks in between certain conference, but like most of the in between time for the conference spent with us speculating and giving opinions and things like that, and jumping back and forth between stuff, because they were really, when it used to be all conferences all day, you may have gotten a 30-minute break between each conference. Like Microsoft went on at 8 a.m. Pacific, and then EA or Ubisoft, one of the two, would take the 10 or 11 o'clock Pacific time, and then the next, whoever didn't get that one out of those two would take the 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. time, and then whoever didn't get between that, I think before that year we did it, there used to be kind of a natural lull, but that was the first year of the PC Gamer show. So there was no lull because of that. And I think it was after that you had a kind of good enough break, because Sony tended to always wait about 3 hours after. So you had a sort of break, even though we spent that 3 hours discussing things and doing all types of shit. And then we got to the Sony one, which came 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And we watched the Sony thing. I think that was actually the year like when Sony announced the PS3 as well. I mean PS4 as well. So it was a crazy year to do it because everything was just happening that year. I remember it was a lot going on and it was exasperating. So now we'll do the in-between shows. Thank you guys for breaking it up, by the way, at E3, so we don't have to sit all day.
I missed that, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I probably wouldn't have watched that. That would have been brutal. I mean, you gotta stream some games or some shit at some point. God damn.
Yeah, we did. At least I did. I remember me like going and playing games in between to fill the time. It wasn't just me just sitting there talking and looking.
Because I thought like you just talked for 24 hours and it's like.
No, it wasn't like that. No, and
I remember getting even tired learning your like extra live streams, and I enjoyed those. So, that's gotta be exhausting.
No, I played games to keep myself engaged, intermediate, because I was going to lose my mind if I didn't play something. And the chat was good. Me and chat would have good discussions, so they helped with that whole thing. So
it's the next extra live stream, by the way. I'm curious. I just want to see you like suffer. So
I think coming soon because I have to coordinate something, but that's why I'm trying to get the new green screen and everything because I'm going to try to make my triumphant return. I have to get a new green screen and a new headset.
There's something about watching Magus suffer from sleep deprivation that's just wonderful.
Right. He likes to like punish old people.
I mean, that's not true. I like to punish anybody who is alive. Well, I assume Satan will take them after, but while they're on Earth, they're mine.
Whatever. All right. We'll end on that note. So now you know what everything is going on here, all the podcasts. Be ready, people. There's going to be a lot of content coming. Starting in June, which is soon. A couple of more days, it'll be June. You're going to get blitzed with a lot of shit from us. So hope you enjoyed this show. Hope you enjoy everything we do and appreciate you all as always. So that said, we're going to head on out here. Thank you again, and we'll holler at you later on the next Reason Reborn. Everybody take care. Have a good one.